Pat
Neil
just
would
pushes
feel
me
about
over. Oh, if he ever calls, tell him I'm not here.
Hey.
Hi, Tyler.
What's happening? I don't. Hi. Can I stand?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Tyler, yes, please.
Okay.
Tyler, we really wanted to honor you at our Veterans Day Assembly,
Okay.
but that's been canceled
Okay.
due to COVID.
Okay.
Um,
I'm not a veteran.
but
Okay.
we wanted to present you to your colleagues and students and announce that you have been selected as our 2020-21 Teacher of the Year.
Thank you very much.
So, just want to tell our school community a few things about you.
Okay.
So, Tyler Hansen graduated from Utah State University with a degree in biology education, is that correct? And he has had 4 papers published. He loves dinosaurs and I think any kind of reptile.
Anything with scales, yeah.
That is, I don't know why, but he is brilliant and loves to read and just loves to learn and loves to watch people learn. And I have had the experience so many times of being in Mr. Hansen's class and watching the excitement he has when students learn. And I know that he's a great teacher, and I am so proud to honor him as our Teacher of the Year. So give it up for Mr. Hansen.
We'd like to recognize our academic all-state for the fall sports. So here we go. Grace Garlick, volleyball. Woo! Sadie Chambers, volleyball. Brooklyn Robbins, volleyball. Rachel Powell, girls tennis. Brooke Burry, girls tennis. Hannah Schwab, girls soccer. Riley Nelson, girls soccer. Emma Isom, girls soccer. Parker Parrish, football. Elijah Jackson, football. Walker Hutchinson, football. Zach Roundy, boys cross country. Samuel Hill, boys cross country. Tyrone Luke, boys cross country. Alex Barlow, boys cross country. And Reagan Taylor, girls tennis.
Got your pitch? Good.
What so proudly we hailed at the morning, Mountain Crest. I have the honor of introducing our speaker for Veterans Day. He's a retired Lieutenant Colonel from the Army Reserves. He is also my dad. Kelly Marchant taught 5th grade at Wilson Elementary for 34 years. During this time, he also served in the reserves. He was called to active duty 3 times following September 11th. My sophomore year of high school, he was called to help protect the Olympics that were held in Salt Lake City. My junior year, he was called up for what would be his longest deployment. He served 18 months in Colorado Springs, helping to prepare troops and supplies to send to the Middle East. I was only able to see him 4 times during this deployment. He was then called to Iraq when I was 22 years old. This would be his final deployment and would last for a year. I'm very excited to introduce him as our speaker because Kelly Marchant is an amazing example of what it means to serve America.
A little bit about me. I spent 26 years in the Army Reserve. The Army Reserve is a part of the Army that's held, as it says, in reserve and ready to mobilize and deploy at any time. And you'll notice that I have had a few experiences of being mobilized and deployed. My latest place to go was in 2009-10. I was in Iraq and had some experiences there. This first picture that you'll see is of me in Kuwait just before we flew into Iraq. And then the very next picture you see is of me when I first landed in Iraq. You'll notice all of the body armor that I have on in this picture. And I like to equate it to being about the same weight as the saddle that I used on my horse before and after I went to Iraq. Not the most comfortable, but certainly nice to have that security when you're in that type of an environment. You may have heard of sandstorms. I was not sure what a sandstorm was like. This picture was taken. It is very clear. That's about all that we could see. We called them red air days. And on a red air day, there were a lot of times when we did not send convoys on the road. Helicopters were grounded just because of the visibility. I remember one time driving through one of these sandstorms, and the person in the passenger seat had the door open watching the curb on the side of the road to make sure that we made it back to our destination. They have a lot of date palms. This particular grove had about 6 different types of dates that would grow in it, and just kind of a pretty section of one of the camps that I stayed on. This mosque was redone while we were there and repainted. There was just an amazing partnership that was going on between the United States and Iraq to bring things back to what could be perceived as normal. This is anything but normal. This is a homemade shotgun. And if you can see the size of the barrel on that thing, it would be very dangerous to shoot anything off of that. But obviously a lot of us had to have our picture taken with it. And you'll see in the storage container behind me in this picture, there is a lot of weapons that had been confiscated from the Iraqis. We had a huge supply mission on each one of our bases. We supplied everything to the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines that were in Iraq. It consisted of everything from missiles that the helicopters would shoot, to bullets, to the food, to the replacement parts, everything, fuel. We had one fuel convoy that actually got stuck, and it took us about 9 days to get to its destination because of the security procedures that were going on. That was kind of a difficult time for us. This is a container truck that would deliver supplies around Iraq. One of the highlights of my experience was an opportunity that we had to go out to a school to deliver some school supplies. Kids had very little. And you'll see in some of these following pictures some of the things that they lived with. I was quite shocked, but when we got there, the principal had supplied a meal for us. You'll notice that everything is on one tray. It has the bread on the side, looks like tortillas, and you would just tear a piece of that and take whatever you wanted out of the bowls, and you would eat it, and everybody basically ate out of each one of those bowls, but obviously no cross-contamination of germs and stuff. We were able to get into the school and see the children as well. The United States soldiers did not deliver any of the school supplies. They were delivered by the Iraqi soldiers. We built the kits and the Iraqi soldiers gave them to the kids in order to build an element of trust between the kids and the authority that was going on in Iraq. You'll notice these kids are dressed quite warmly with caps and coats and everything. This was a chilly day in Iraq. It was about 75 degrees. And I know that sounds ridiculous to you, but when you're used to temperatures that are way above 110 every day, when it gets down to about 75, it can feel kind of cold. And by the way, these schools did not have glass in their windows. It was basically open air. There were no heaters, air conditioners. So they had to deal with that situation as well. Another picture of some of the kids. And then you can see the Iraqi soldiers delivering the kits to the kids. This picture of this little girl was taken intentionally. You may think that I misfired on my picture, but if you'll notice, her toes are hanging off of her shoes. And yet she was as happy as any of the children that you would see in the United States. She didn't realize how bad it was. And for me, it was just really humbling to see the situation that she was in. And one of the things that I most want to share with you on this Veterans Day is I chose the route of joining the Army to serve this great country. And sometimes people think that they need to do something like that, join one of the military forces. But there are so many ways that you can give service and you can pay back the opportunities and blessings that you receive as being a member of this amazing country that we live in. At this time in our country where we have our essential workers, our doctors, nurses, I would say your teachers, your educators are in a situation as well. We can show our appreciation to them for all that they do for each one of us. Once again, I would like to wish you a happy Veterans Day and encourage you to find ways to give back to your community, to serve in whatever capacity that you're able to do. And we'll talk to you later. See you.
Now the party
Veterans Day program today. We'd like to thank Lieutenant Colonel Kelly Marchant for his great slideshow and words today. You can now go to your flex class.